For the duration of your visit here, I would strongly recommend you watch your back and don't bend over. Alright, welcome back folks. Thank you for tuning in. I've been kind of laying back on it a little bit, just not feeling it, you know what I mean? Ain't been feeling it so much, baby. And I actually had so much crap around here to do. Well, I'm never going to get caught up on it. I don't think I'm ever going to get caught up and stay here all the time just about since the thing hit. Anyways, there have been a lot of questions coming up about acoustic guitar nuts and saddles. And I've been reading over in the groups on Facebook, and there's a whole lot of talk about that over there. What sounds the best? Plastic or bone or tusk? Does it sound better than bone does? Well, it's a personal preference, really. I think it is. You know, it depends a lot on how you want your acoustic guitar to sound. You know what I mean? I've got some out here. I've got a whole bunch of crap out here. I want to show you the difference. I've got videos on this already, but I thought I would show you the difference of the drop test, and you can judge for yourself the difference in plastic and bone and tusk. Bone, we all know how plastic, you know, is. So I'm not going to talk very much about it, but bone, almost always throughout the density of the things, either I'm talking about saddle or a nut, or saddle and nut here, the density of a bone saddle, we'll say, changes throughout the length of the saddle and the thickness of it and the height of it. It's not completely the same, like whereas a tusk saddle, the density is more dense, you know, all the way through it. I don't know how to explain that or get that point across. I don't know how to get it. That's the best I can get it across, man. I hope you understand that. Tusk is like tusk, and it's the same all the way through the saddle. The thickness of it, the length of it, the height of it. Whereas bone is not the same bone all the way through the saddle, the height of it, and the thickness of it, and the length of it. You with me on that? Anyways, I'm going to show you, bring you over here. I'm going to try to get the camera in here close so it'll pick this up. It's pretty quiet in here right now. Hopefully it'll stay quiet. And you'll be able to hear these differences in this stuff. So let's get to it. Let's do it! Alright, what I have out here is an ungodly, horrid, awful mess. And this is the bone blank. Is all that is. It's a bone blank. I'm going to show you what it sounds like. Get this other stuff out of the way. Hear that? That's what a bone blank sounds like. If I made a saddle out of that, it would sound like this bone saddle right here. See, you can tell it's a little bit thinner sound, but it's not that piece. That's heavier because this is a saddle I made. It's different color bone than this is, but it is what it is. Now right here I have a bone nut. This is a bone nut I made for someone, and they couldn't get the guitar work done, so I still got the nut. It's for a Martin guitar. Anyways, here's what the bone nut sounds like. Okay. Compare that bone nut with a plastic one. This is a plastic nut. Bone, plastic. Bone, plastic. I need more room, man. Okay, here's plastic. Here's bone. I'm trying to drop those from the same height too. Okay, here again, one more time. Here's plastic, and here's bone. Wow, it bounced clear off the desk. So you can hear a significant difference in plastic and bone. Now, one of these is a tusk. It's this one right here. Here's what a tusk nut sounds like. It doesn't have that ringing noise much. You can tell it bounces harder because the material is harder. And here is bone. Tusk. Wow, that thing is hard, man. Okay, here's tusk. And here's bone. Tusk. Bone. Plastic. The plastic doesn't even sound anywhere near it. So you can tell just by the sound of this, it's soft. You can tell that the bone is harder and the tusk even harder than that. I think I got them backwards there. Alright, let's move on. This is, I think this is plastic. Well, that might be tusk there. Yeah, that's tusk, another tusk one. Alright, saddles is what really gets interesting. Let's get out a tusk saddle, a bone saddle. This is the bone one here, that's plastic. Okay. Alright, I hope the camera gets this. This is plastic right here. Okay, that's plastic. Here's bone. So you can tell that's harder material because it bounces. Here's plastic. It bounced pretty good that time. Plastic. And here's bone. It's trying to, that bone saddle wants to leave this world. Okay, see what I mean? Okay, now listen to this tusk saddle. Can you hear the difference in that? Usually it's more evident than that. Yeah, I can hear it. I just hope the camera's getting it. Alright. The plastic saddle, you know, let's just take that out of the game. Okay. Here's the bone. And here's tusk. Again, here's bone. 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 And tusk. It's got a ring to it. And you can tell it's much harder material. Here's a bone saddle. It's a bone block. It's not a saddle yet. It hasn't even been made into a saddle. A bone blank. That's what I'm trying to say, man. Okay, hear that? That's a brand new bone blank. Should sound a lot like this bone saddle. If I can hold on to it, man. It don't want to stay on the table tonight. Wow! I can't believe that shit. This saddle does not want to stay on the table. Alright, here's the bone. I'm going to compare it with that bone. It would have went off again if I had my hand there. And here's bone. Only a lot heavier piece. I swear to God, man, I cannot believe that. This piece of bone saddle goes off the table almost every time. Would have went off that way. Bone. And bone. That one's louder because it's bigger and heavier. And here it's tusk again. Hear how it kind of rings out? I don't know if the camera's getting it or not. So here's bone, tusk, bone, tusk. One more. Bone, tusk, and plastic. Hopefully you're able to hear that. Here's these are both plastic, I think. I can listen to them and tell you. Yeah, that's definitely plastic. and that's plastic. I've got a thing here. Mostly it's just all blanks. There's a few saddles in there that I've did that are finished. Instead of guitar strings. Imagine that. There's a bone blank, a big one. Let's see what it sounds like. It sounds like bone. Here's a big plastic one. It sounds like plastic. I don't have any tusq blanks right now. That's bone. The last tusq blank I had, I made this saddle with. And you can definitely tell it's made out of tusk. Hear that? So, I'm sure I don't have any, I've got a bunch of bone blanks in here for nuts. I don't think it's big enough to make a saddle with. I got some for saddles too. Well, right there's one, yeah. Here's a nut. This is a bone nut. What do I do with that tusk one? That ain't it. I think this is it. Yeah, that's the tusk one. Tusk, bone nut. Tusk nut, bone nut. Tusk nut, bone nut. So you can hear a huge difference in those. Alright, one last little test for you. Tell me if you can tell if these are both bone or both tusk, or if one is bone and the other is tusk. Let me know if you can tell the difference. Here we go. We'll call this number one nut. Let's do one again. And again. That's number one. Here's number two. It's alive too, like that saddle was. Alright, that's number two. Again, here's number one. And here's number two. You call it, man! So let me know on those last two nuts if you can tell if which one of them's bone or which one's saddle, one or two, or are they both bone or are they both saddle? Which one's bone or which one's tusk? Or if one's tusk and one's bone, or they're both bone or both tusk, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Put in the comments if you can tell the difference in them or not. This kind of it really needs something hard up here, like concrete. You can really hear the difference in that dropping. But I hope you'll be able to hear it good enough here. I could hear it here, but I don't know if the camera is going to get it that good or not. Anyways, I found out my own personal experience. I like a bone nut on an acoustic guitar and a tusk saddle. Now I've used the tusk nut, and I don't know. It changed the sound a little bit. It wasn't that much, but what it did, I didn't like. You know, it was just a little bit too brightness for me. So you can play around with that and do, you know, experiments if you want. But for me, I like a bone saddle, a bone nut, I'm sorry, I'll get it. I like a bone nut and a tusk saddle. I've been working outside all day today and I am burned up, man. Got tore up too, working on lawnmowers again. I'm tired and I can't think, so I'm going to quit making excuses and looking stupid and just tell you all good night. And I'll see you next time. Cheers. Thanks for watching. I have to figure out how to turn this camera off now. Oh, Earl, you son of...